Well, I had so much fun working on this whole thing, I decided I can't just leave it at that. We got to take care of the next problem here. So as you guys saw in the last video, obviously we puked out a bunch of oil here after I finally got this thing fired up and running. And it turns out to be none other than good old rusted through engine oil cooler lines, as you'll see here. I believe the story behind this truck was it was used as a salt truck, a plow truck, etc. It's only got 40,000 miles on it. I believe this is a 99. This would be a 99 model year with only 40,000 miles on it, but they were really rough miles as well. We also had trouble getting that EGR pipe off, so that ended up just snapping off there, as we couldn't get that thing to budge with all the rust and everything. Our engine oil cooler lines and pretty much every single metal component on this thing has seen much better days. But those are rusted out to the point where oil is just spewing out of them. So we're going to replace those. Looks like they've already been fixed once at some point down there. It's got the old hose clamps on the rubber hoses, just like I did with the F-150 and the transmission cooler lines. I've already soaked these in some WD-40, so let's see if we can just remove these here. Coming right off, no problem. There's one of them. There we go. Now we're just going to wiggle these things and hopefully get them out of the radiator without damaging the radiator. There we go. There's one of them. Ooh. This other one sees pretty good. Oh, did I break it loose? Oh, not yet. Starting to break the pipe here, though. There we go. Got it. No, I like my Fords, but I'll say this about GM. I love this cooler fitting design much more than Ford's garbage. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I think I've got the right tool, but good luck getting a Ford cooler line quick disconnect fitting off like these things here. Oh wow, that line just snapped. Catch it with the band there. Here we go. I went to bend the line down and it literally just snapped right in half. Yep, there it is. Look at that, it just broke right in half. Alright, we'll let those sit there and drain. Well, since we got the oil cooler lines off of the fittings, it made it that much easier to use the little 1-inch socket here and take the fittings out of the radiator. So now we got some new fittings here we're going to put on. So our new oil cooler lines seal just fine. They've already got the little seal in there and everything, and they're ready to go. Got their own new clips. Underneath the truck here, took the oil filter off to get to the other fittings. They came right off just fine. I didn't even bother trying to get the clips out of the oil cooler lines on this one, now that I know that he had new retainers here, or the new connectors. So I just broke those off, a little bit of bending back and forth, and they just broke right off. Oh, perfect. There we go. And once again, back underneath the truck. Get the first cooler line here. There we go. And the second one. Perfect. Now, I was told that the oil filter's in here. Ooh, what do we have here? Do we have a 7-tree? Oh, it's a Power Stroke, guys. Sweet. I wonder what's wrong with this thing. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got some rust. Oh, it's got a plow attachment on it. I later found out this is why that truck was towed in. Take a look at the teeth on this gear in the rear differential. Yikes. Old trusty there. Except it's on a tow truck. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's go get this done. Now, aren't you guys proud of me? I'm pre-filling the oil filter. How about that? On the other side of the truck, we have part 2 of this project. These are all the transmission cooler lines. And these things move a large volume. Look at the size of those. These are big, serious cooler lines. Got its own filter right here. Put a new filter on there. All the old stuff here looks like somebody replaced it with just old hydraulic lines. Basically, it looks like they just kind of cut off the fitting here. This is part of an original cooler line, it looks like. Cut it off, put this other fitting on, and these are just hydraulic lines that they had in there. So there's hydraulic lines here, and they actually had it routed backwards, so the fluid was, not that it really matters, well, maybe when it comes to the filter, yeah, I guess it would matter, but the fluid was flowing backwards because these lines were connected in reverse. So we're going to put everything back together the way it goes factory. Had to get all this stuff out of the cab here so I could get inside. Take this little cover off. I got just a whole lot of aftermarket stuff here, so it's been a little difficult to work around. Just about done here. This was a little bit of a maze to figure out because the old lines weren't routed in the same direction, the same area as the factory lines go. But I think I figured it out. Take a look behind here, you can see where these lines run. There's that filter there, runs behind this little metal shield, protects it from the heat from the manifold. They run back up here, and then on top of the transmission, there you go. Filled her up with 9 quarts of oil. Got a new oil filter on it, transmission fluid filter on it, oil cooler lines, transmission cooler lines. I have radiator hoses as well, but I'll wait to do these till a little bit later. I tightened that EGR fitting up there, and I want to see if that helps. So let's see what happens there. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. And everything else should be good. We shouldn't have any leaks anywhere else. Let's fire this thing up, see what happens. Well, after she warms up a little bit, the idle smooths out. So that tells me we probably still got a vacuum leak here somewhere, but it's at least idling somewhat consistently now. It's not surging like mad, burning off all that oil that got on the manifold. We don't have any oil leaks. Go over here and check the transmission. No transmission fluid leaks either. Sounds like we got a pretty gnarly exhaust leak somewhere in here. I'm just gonna say it's got a gnarly cam in it and call it good. Well, now that we've got a fairly consistent cammed out idle, let's see if we can get this dump bed to dump here. So I'm gonna guess we gotta run the PTO. There's a PTO switch here. Oh yeah. Let's give her a little throttle. I'm going to say out, dump out, right? Oh. There we go. Kind of sticking. Like that's all the further up she wants to go, but I know it has more than that. And forward, I'm assuming lowers it. Yep. There we go. All right, well, we know it works somewhat. Well, you guys remember that bird's nest that was up in there? So when I raised the dump bed, it kind of relocated. Fortunately, it's somewhat still intact, and most of the birds stayed in the nest, but I had to put a couple of them back in here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this nest somewhere safe, go put fuel in the truck. Then I'll bring it back here and I'll just put the nest back in place and hopefully the mom comes back. Found the nest. I found it, guys. I think they're gonna be okay. Found a little bit of gas here and added that, so that should at least get us to the gas station. Let's see if we show a little bit more fuel now. It didn't really change much. It went up a little bit. Should be enough to get to the gas station though. All right. Oh, take the brake off maybe. There we go. Here we go. Got it. Try not to scare the horses over there. Already getting so hot in here in this cab with that engine cover not being on. Well, just about out to the open road here. Just run sweet. Look at that alignment. Some of the firmest shifts I've ever felt. Oh man, it is loud in here. There's no air conditioning. You don't need that. Mud flaps sticking out there just a little bit. Gave it a little throttle there. There we go. Now she shifted. I think we're probably in like, I don't know, maybe we're in drive now. I don't know what gear it's in. I lost track. Well, I got back, and it's a good thing I didn't drive very far, because this brake caliper looks like it's seized up. I thought I smelled a burning smell. Ooh-wee, that rotor got hot. And you can feel the heat all the way back here. It got a little bit hot. Well, she's still not running so great, but I think I remember why. I remembered that this little vacuum line right down here is a fuel pressure regulator. As you can see, there's a line coming off of it here, and then go into the intake manifold, and there's no hose. That's where the rubber hose is missing. So, I'm gonna go get a little piece of rubber hose, put it on there, see if that makes it any better. There's the vacuum line running from the fuel pressure regulator to the intake manifold. Let's see if that changes anything. It's running perfect now. Sounds great. Alright, well that's going to do it for now. We've got more coming with this truck. There's more work to be done, more things to fix. But I have faith in it. I think we're going to get it running, and I think it's going to be a great tool to use around the farm. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you guys next time.